That's for extract, load and transform. What are the products we can use? I will be explaining. And finally, I will be explaining in depth about two of the products. That is Alibaba Cloud Platform for AI. For AI and Quick BI. That's how we can create a business intelligence. Ultimately, in data analytics, the ultimate aim of the data analytics is to create a business intelligence, and I will be explaining how to create business intelligence by using the tool known as Quick BI in Alibaba Cloud. So that's a short agenda what we are going to see today. So moving to introduction to Alibaba Cloud. So I hope so Alibaba Cloud is a cloud computing company, and it is a subsidiary of Alibaba Group. It is founded in the year 2009, and it provides cloud computing services to the online business and for its own ecosystem, that is alibabacloud.com. And its international operations are registered and its headquarters is in Singapore. As you see in the slide, it is ranked number 1 in Asia Pacific region, and we are in Asia Pacific region, and it is number 1 in China, and it is ranked number 3 in worldwide. So according to the Gartner, it is ranked number 3 in worldwide. And moving to the global infrastructure, you can consider any cloud service provider available in the market. They have their global infrastructures. So Alibaba Cloud has 39 availability zone and 30 geographic regions, and it has 3,200 plus content delivery node available across the world. So now this is some of the insights of to know about the power of Alibaba Cloud. It has 200 plus services available in 200 plus countries all over the world. And as I mentioned previously, it is ranked number 1 in the world in China as well as in Asia Pacific region. And it has processed. This is a volume of data which is processed during Double 11 festival. It is a festival similar to Big Billion Day. I hope everyone may be knowing about Big Billion Day in Flipkart or Amazon. So you know that enormous amount of requests will be accessed during that particular Big Billion Day. Similarly, Double 11 is a festival. Double 11 is one of the Chinese festival, and you see the data processed in a single day. That is 9,970 petabyte of data is processed in a single day by using Alibaba Cloud. And you see the transaction happened 5,44,000 per second transaction is processed by Alibaba Cloud. And there is 1 million paid customers, and it is ranked the number 1 in Asia Pacific region as mentioned. And 80 regions, 89 zones are available. So this is this is a short insight that I had to project to you on. So I think some background voice is there.
Niji madam, kindly mute participants while joining. Please mute your device and join. Niji.
Okay.
Niji madam.
So this is a short insight which I got to project you regarding Alibaba Cloud. So now moving to another topic. So if we are moving to data analytics, data engineering is an important part. We cannot omit that data engineering part. So if you want to create some insight, we have to do some process, or we have to do some data engineering process. That process in the industry will tell us ETL and ELT. So now most of the industries are following ELT, that is extract, load, and transform. Previously they were using extract, transform, and load. So we can see that what is ELT? ELT stands for, I hope all the faculties may be knowing about ETL and ELT. So again, we can see that's extract. You are getting the data from different data sources. The data source may be a file or a normal CSV file, or it may be an Excel file, or it may be another database, or it may be a NoSQL database, or it may be a relational database, or it may be a web API, or it may be XML data. So we are going to extract the data. So in the cloud scenario, we may be using different set of tools for this that I will be explaining the reference architecture and transformation. So we got to transform the data. So actual data, we have to clean the actual data, and we got to do some transformation. we got to add some primary key for key relationship, and finally we got to load the transformed data. We got to load in the data warehouse. Okay, data warehouse, different set of data warehouses are there for different set of cloud service providers. So I will be focusing on data warehouse, which is used in Alibaba Cloud. And you see the difference between ETL and ELT is in ETL, we are processing the data or we are transforming the data in a separate server. And finally, after processing the data or transforming the data, we are transferring the data to the data warehouse. So in case of ELT, the same thing, we are extracting the data from different data sources by using set of tools, and we are loading the data. We are not going to transform the data, and we are going to load the data. And after loading the data, we are going to do some transformation by using set of tools available. So now here you have to know in ELT the data is directly transferred to the data warehouse. So data is stored in the data warehouse, and we will do some transformation using staging. I will explain what is staging. The industry scenario, no, you have to know what is staging. Different set of staging is there based on the what kind of tool you are going to use. So the stage may be 2 stage will be there, 3 stage or 4 stage. Even I work to the project, there are 4 to 5 stages are there. So I will explain what is staging in the next slide. And that's you have to know the difference between ETL and ELT. It is it is an important factor you have to know. Okay. So in ETL, the data is directly loaded to the data warehouse, and we are going to do the source of transformation in the data warehouse, which is where the data is stored. So now this is a short picture which is going to depict the process of ETL. So we are going to extract the data from the databases, files, or REST API, or from application events. You are extracting the data, and you are going to store the data in the external staging area. We will tell the staging area. Yeah, you are transforming. You are loading the data. So what's the host? You can I hope you can unmute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's some disturbance. Please unmute the participants. Okay, I hope you can do that. Okay, sorry for interruption. Okay, now we can extract the data, and what we are doing by using third-party server, we are going to transform the data, and we are going to load the transformed data in the data warehouse. And this data, which is present in the data warehouse, we can use for business intelligence or for any data analytics process. We can use that. You can use for Tableau. You can use the same data for Tableau or Power BI or any other data analytics tool we can use for. We can get the data from this data warehouse. That's a short diagram which I got to depict about ETL process. Currently, ETL process is not used in the industry. We are moving to ELT process since cost involved for ETL process is high when compared to the ELT process, and since the data is stored in the third-party server, and again set of maintenance complexity is there in ETL when compared with ELT. So now let us move to the ELT process. So you can see that data can be extracted as I mentioned previously from the databases. The database may be a relational database management system, or it may be an NoSQL database such as MongoDB. We can extract the data from the file. So in the industry, the most of the scenario I worked with in the industry is we're working with the CSV and JSON files or XML files, and normally in this scenario, we'll be working with CSV or JSON files, and in SaaS applications. So we'll be getting the data from the REST API. Using API calls, we'll be getting the data, and using some application event. Using if you are clicking the mouse, the data will be stored in the data will be transformed to the data warehouse like some events. When some events happen, the data will be sent to the data warehouse. Now in this post, there is no transformation. So first what we are going to do is we are going to load the data. Load the data in the data warehouse. The data warehouse is, you can use any data warehouse which is available in the cloud service provider. So in my case, in Alibaba Cloud, Max Compute is one of the data warehouse. We are going to see in detail about that, and we can store the data. And once the data is stored in the data warehouse, what you can do? You can transform the data. You can transfer the data by using different staging layers. Okay, we can have different set of staging layers we can create in data warehouse, and we can then transform the data. And in this case, we can use some SQL queries for transforming data. In certain project we'll be using SQL queries, and certain project we'll be using Python or PySpark we'll be using for transforming the data. And once the data is transformed, it will be stored again. It will be the transformed data will be stored in the data warehouse. So it will be faster when you are comparing with ETL. The ELT will be faster since it is happening in a single data warehouse. So it is not happening in the third-party data warehouse. It is happening in the single data warehouse. So it will be faster. And once the transformed data is ready, so what we can do? We can do some data analytics process. We can analyze the data by using some analytic tools, or by any other API tools. We can use some API tools for analyzing the data. So this is the basic thing any data engineer or data analytics has to know. That is ELT and ETL. So now currently we are relying with ELT process. So you have to know the difference between ELT and ETL. And again, if you have only few amount of data, if you have few GB of data, you did not want to go to extract, load, transform. You can go to ETL. So that's another benefit of ETL. So if the data is very less, if you have very less amount of data to be transformed, you can go for transformation first, and then you can load the data in the data warehouse. So this is a short introduction about ELT and ETL. Now we can see some difference. So already I mentioned the definition, so I'm not going to differentiate with the definitions. And speed, you see, ETL is time intensive process. Since I already mentioned that it is done in a separate processing server, so it will take some time. And ETLT is faster since we are loading the data directly in the data warehouse, in the destination data warehouse. It will be faster, and barely we can do the analytic process. That is, barely we can do the transformation process. We can do barely. We did not want to load the data first, and barely we can we can do the transformation also. So it is speed. It will be ETL process will be more speed than ETL process. And code maintenance, you see, maintenance, in ETL we are going to process the data by using secondary processing server. So we are going to use some third-party server we are going to use. In this case, we are going to use inland data in database. That's what our own data. That's a database of cloud service provider we are going to use, and it will be somewhat faster than ETL. And cost is an important factor. I hope everyone will be knowing that. Why the organization is moving to cloud? So organization is moving to cloud for reducing the cost. So that is what the upfront cost which is incurred due to the hardware and the maintenance cost will be reduced when you are moving to cloud. So ultimately, if you are moving to ELT, the cost will be reduced since we are using in database. With database instead of third-party database servers, and we are taking more time. I already mentioned that if time is increasing for processing the data, you have to pay more for the cloud service providers. But here the time will be reduced less, so that ELT will be less cost than when compared to ETL. And data volume, as I mentioned previously, if data volume is very small, data set is very small, you can move with ETL. And if the data set is larger, you can move with ELT. Okay. So this is a short difference between ELT and ETL and ELT. So now we are going to relay with ELT. So since all the industries are using nowadays, now they are working with the ELT. So we are moving to ELT. So now I am going to explain the reference architecture for data analytics